I woke up at 2:13 a.m. to a buzz and blue light on my nightstand. The message said, "Don't forget your keys this time." My phone was in airplane mode because I sleep light and hate notifications. I stared at the status bar, then at the message. It was there anyway. I live alone in a one-bedroom near campus. Last night I really did lock myself out and had to buzz the landlord. Only my friend Jessica knew. I rubbed my eyes and checked the sender. There was no number, just a blank line. Half awake, I typed, "Who is this?" The typing dots came up, then disappeared, then came back. A chill ran through me like the room had a draft. I waited. The reply landed, "Good, you locked it." My front door was across the room. I could see the chain and bolt. I hadn't moved since last night. My heart rate kicked up anyway. I told myself this was a glitch or some weird iMessage relay thing. I turned off airplane mode data test, then back on again. The room felt normal, but the message thread looked wrong, like the UI hiccuped when I scrolled. I set the phone face down. By morning, I'd convinced myself it was nothing. I made coffee, opened the blinds, and texted Jessica from work. "Weird thing happened. You up?" She sent a laughing emoji and said, "In needed sleep." I almost believed her. That night, I double-checked the lock twice. I set my keys in a bowl by the door, on purpose. I put the phone on airplane mode again and went to bed with a podcast on low. I slept hard for maybe an hour. I woke to another buzz. The new message said, "Don't ignore me this time." I stared at the top right corner of the screen. The little airplane icon was still there. The room felt colder than it should. I tried to block the sender. The menu opened, but when I tapped block, the screen glitched, flashed black, and returned to the chat. A second message appeared. "Blocking doesn't work here." I dropped the phone on my blanket. I grabbed my laptop and searched. Texts from no number. Ghost SMS. Airplane mode message. Most posts were jokes. One old thread said, "If the texts mention your door, leave the apartment." That line made my chest tighten. I looked at my door. The chain caught a slice of streetlight. If I left now and it was nothing, I'd feel stupid. If I stayed and it was something, I might not wake up again. That was the exact thought that hit me. Then the phone buzzed. The message said, "Too late." Right then, the bolt made a soft click. I didn't touch it. The handle rotated a millimeter and stopped. I could hear my pulse in my ears. I listened for feet, breathing, anything. Nothing. I said out loud, "Who's there?" My voice sounded tiny, like I didn't own it. The apartment answered with the fridge hum and a distant siren. The next text, "You shouldn't have looked." A draft moved across my ankles even though my windows were shut. It smelled like wet electronics, like a hot charger after rain. I backed away from the door. The phone screen went black for a second, then turned into a reflective surface. I saw my face in it, and then I saw my face smile even though I wasn't. I felt something bottom out in my stomach. I grabbed a hoodie and my wallet and left barefoot, which I only noticed in the stairwell. I stood on the sidewalk at 2 a.m. listening to the rain start. I texted Jessica, "Please call me." Message failed. There's a beat-up payphone outside a closed Walgreens 2 blocks away. I used it once during a power outage. I ran there, coins sweaty in my hand, and dialed Jessica's number from memory. It rang, then dropped. While I stood there, a new text came to my cell in my pocket. I hadn't brought it, at least I thought I hadn't, but I reached in, and it was there. The message said, "Check your front door." From the corner, I could see my building's common entryway. The outer door was propped, and my apartment door upstairs looked open by an inch. No one was on the steps. The building felt like it was holding its breath. A shape stood in my doorway. Not a person exactly, more like a blank cutout of one, like a video frame that failed to load. It wavered, then snapped out. My phone buzzed again. Jessica called back. I answered before the first ring ended and talked too fast. "Don't hang up. Please stay with me." She said she was on her way. She told me to meet her under the 4th Street overpass. I started walking. Halfway there, a text arrived from Jessica's number. "Why are you going the wrong way?" I froze. On the call, she hadn't told me a direction. I didn't even say where I was. I typed back, "Where are you?" Her reply, "Inside." I looked up at the overpass. Empty. Then another text came from the blank thread. "She won't help you." I put the phone in my pocket and walked faster. Jessica called again. "Ryan, I'm at your block. Your door is wide open. Where are you?" I told her to leave, to go back to her car and lock it. The line clipped with static. She said, "Someone's in your place." Then silence. I ran back, cutting across a small park. Every step felt like I was running in a dream. My phone vibrated nonstop with messages from the blank contact, but I refused to look. I only looked at my building's light. In the stairwell, I heard a sound like dial-up that 90s modem scream. Faint but real. My apartment door was open 2 inches now. I pushed it with my foot and said Jessica's name. No answer. The TV was off. The kitchen light was off. The phone I'd left on my blanket was on the floor. Screen spider-cracked. Battery at 1%, but still glowing. On it, a message thread scrolled by itself like someone was flicking it with an invisible finger. My keys were still in the bowl by the door. Another message popped. You forgot them. The grammar was wrong for once. I picked up the keys and stepped backward toward the hall. The hall closet door creaked open slowly, like someone was inside breathing and pushing it with their shoulder. I stood there holding my keys like a weapon. The closet was dark all the way back, the smell of hot electronics again. My messages overlaid each other on the lock screen in a stack. The blank contact sent 3, then 2. I whispered, Jessica, and then 1. The closet door stopped moving. At the back of the closet is a cheap full-length mirror I bought at Target. Something moved in it that wasn't me. It was me, but a half frame behind, like we were talking over a delay. He smiled first. I slammed the closet and ran. My neighbor Mark cracked his door to complain, then saw my face and just stepped back. I told him to lock his door and call 911. He did both without questions. 2 officers arrived, fast Columbus PD. They cleared the unit and found no one. They bagged my shattered phone. One officer asked if anyone had a key. I said only the landlord. He called the landlord on speaker. The landlord sounded half asleep, then fully awake. The landlord, Mr. Carter, said the building's entry system keeps a key log. He texted the timestamp screenshot to the officer. At 2:11 a.m., a maintenance key opened my unit. I don't have maintenance. Mr. Carter said he'd meet us there in 10 minutes. While we waited, Jessica finally texted, I'm outside. The officer walked to the window and saw a car idling across the street. He waved and the car headlights flashed. Then my blank thread buzzed again. She won't help you. I called Jessica. She picked up and said she was still on the freeway. The car outside turned off its lights. We watched it for a long 10 seconds. It pulled away slow. The officer wrote down the plate. Mr. Carter showed up with a toolbox and a gray hoodie. He swiped his MasterCard on my lock and the keypad flashed red. Somebody cloned it, he said, or jammed it. The officers looked at each other like that wasn't great news. The officer asked Mr. Carter to resend the log. Carter frowned, tapped, then blanched. The 2:11 a.m. entry was gone. In its place was a blank line with no key tag, no apartment number, just time. The officer said, screenshot that now. When everyone left, the apartment felt emptier than before, like parts of it had been erased. I charged a spare old Android and logged into nothing, no SIM, no accounts, just Wi-Fi. The blank contact appeared anyway as the first conversation. The message came in slowly, word by word, like it was being typed on a typewriter. You left your front door unlocked. I let myself in. I've been here before. My scalp tingled as if a current ran across it. I typed, who are you? A photo arrived. It was my living room from a high angle, like from the corner near the ceiling. In the photo, I was asleep on my couch. The timestamp was from last week. My ceiling has no camera. I checked anyway. Nothing. Another message. You shouldn't have looked at the door. Then, I like when you turn your phone face down. Then, airplane mode keeps the other noise out. I turned the phone off entirely. The screen still glowed faintly for a second before dying. I bought a cheap landline at Target the next morning and unplugged everything else. For a week, nothing happened. I slept with the chain on and a chair under the knob. On Friday at 1:12 a.m., the landline rang. Unknown caller. I answered and heard static like a modem again. Then my own voice, unmistakably mine, said, you can't block me here either. The line clicked, and for a second the glossy black phone plastic showed a reflection of me smiling back. This morning my door was unlocked, chain unlatched, chair pushed aside. No sign of forced entry. I put the keys in my pocket and left for work early, leaving the blinds open on purpose. Tonight I'm staying at Jessica's. I don't know if that matters. If my phone lights up at 2:13 a.m. again, I won't check it.